Look at that, eh? It's one of the bearings out of the gearbox. One in stock. Just going to try and get the other one. That's pretty cool, and the part numbers were perfect for the Shopcat Industries part numbers. Perfect. So yeah, that book is gold. Right, morning guys. So welcome back again to NZ Outlaw Customs. So this morning, so I should be here about lunchtime or thereabouts. I'm going to have a bit of a clean up here. I'm going to start cleaning these parts up. I've got one bearing for the gearbox. Just happened to be just a common old whatever. The other one, obviously going to have to order, and hopefully they're going to have a look to see if I can get a clutch release bearing as well, which fits in this housing. Popped that out and took that around yesterday as well. So hopefully we can get that as well. So yeah, I'll start giving this stuff a clean up. I'm thinking about Almighty. I'm not going to say I'm going to polish the case, but I might just give it a really good clean up on the outside, so it's semi-shiny, if you know what I mean. So it looks like it might be like new aluminium, not 100 years old and a bit crusty. So I'm not quite sure how I'm going to attack that yet. Maybe just run over with a wire wheel or something for a start off on a low speed, and or whatever, and then just buff it up or just sand it up or something like that. Just bring it up a little bit so it looks a bit better. But basically, need to clean the case up. I'll whip these gears back out of here now. I've test fitted them, make sure that they fit last night. And then we'll just go through, clean all these parts up, make sure everything's free, paint stuff and whatever, and just get it all prepped to go back on, I guess. So once we get the bearings, it should be good. But it's put everything back together. We'll have to make a couple of gaskets, just paper gaskets, so that's pretty simple. We'll go through that when we do that. It's simple enough to do, make paper gaskets, and just buy the gasket material. Like, it'd be easier to make them than try and find them, if you know what I mean. They probably are available somewhere in the US, but you know, you can go buy the gasket material, and you know what you use for the gasket from here, and in here you've got to make the one for the front or the back, you know, or whatever. So just got to get everything cleaned up and try and make it look new again, you know. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'll just go through and clean everything and get it ready for assembly, I guess, and get this bench really clean, get all the bolts clean, and just double check and make sure everything else is free, and yeah, just get it ready to assemble again. That's cool. Yeah, and we're going to put the whole gear set out of the box in it, but I think we'll use the main shaft, the main output shaft from this one, just because it's in better order at the back, and just use that other one because it can be a good spear. Yeah. And I think I'll use the, I'm going to clean these shafts up. I think I'll use the one from, I think we'll use the shaft out of the cast box because it matches those gears. I'll just have to polish them up and see which one looks better. I'll polish it up to 3000 because there is a bit of wear on those shafts. So I'll better get one made. But yeah, just because there is a little bit of wear on it. We'll see how we get on. Right, so I've got a lot of the nuts and bolts and little parts of soaking over there, plus some other stuff. I'm going to clean this stuff up more. I'm probably going to have to give us another media blast with that walnut and see if I can get it really cleaned up, and then attack it with a wire brush, just because it's quite, it's not bad, but it's a bit scabby still. There's a lot of little flaky bits and pieces on here. I want to get all that all cleaned off and just see if I can get the surface of the gears all sort of polished up fairly well, because I don't want anything wearing off in the box obviously when it's running. Same for that gear. Just really clean it up, just make sure it's nothing, as it gets going, nothing's going to cause any damage, because there's quite a bit of crack and shit, and because it's been open there's a bit of just light surface and there's a lot of crack and shit in there. This here I want to clean up on the inside, polish the surface up a bit. Same on here, because that runs on there, so I need to polish this up. I've got some of the wet and dry that I used to use on the car. So I could probably use some fresh stuff, but I'll use a bit of the older stuff that I've already used and polish that up. I'll try and polish up in here too, so it's nice and clean and really smooth surface. I'll do the same in here. This I might give a light media blast too with that walnut. Just try and get the surfaces cleaner. I wish I had a fucking rotary wire brush for that grinder. This here I'll give a polish up with some finer grade than this. I'll hit it with like 2000 or something like that, because it is a really smooth running surface, and the gears are running on it. I want it to be more polished up than that, if you know what I mean. This here is off that. That was all full of shit. I will give these all another rinse out and wash out with some brake clean, but I need to go get some. And we'll do that Monday. I'll just work on getting everything as clean and as surface polished up and what sort of crack off. Today and probably Monday. Just do what I can, I guess. Do what I can. As I get to all these bits, and then hopefully Tuesday or something like that, as long as I can get the bearing, I can start assembling. But I'll get some of these other pieces painted too, so it might be sort of Wednesday by the time I sort of get some stuff together. See how we get on. But it'll be a couple of days before we get this all prepped. Finish prepping the box. I might clean the housing on the box first and then rinse it down, if you know what I mean. So yeah, it might be later in the week before we get it together, as long as we get bearings obviously. Now if we've got to wait 2 weeks for bearings, we'll get it together as much as we can. Righty, so I went and media blasted that with walnut. Obviously I'm not going to use coarse grit on it, but the walnut's quite still aggressive, but not so hard that it frickin' destroys, like what do I want to call it, like surfaces that you really want not to be touched, So it's cleaned all the crap off there quite nicely. So now I'm going to give it a polish up. I'll just go through 400 to 800 again, because it doesn't need to be particularly super polished or anything like that. But yeah, I'll give that a clean up in there, and I'll probably just give these a rub too with that fork runs on it, which is over here somewhere. No, sorry, there's a fork runs on there. Yeah, well, doesn't matter anyway, you know what I mean? Where the pork and everything runs on it, I'll give them a polish up, and then that'll be good. Like when we go to assemble, I'm going to get probably 2 or 3 cans of brake clean. I'd like to get a frickin' 20 litre drum of it, or a gallon drum of it thereabouts. You know what I mean? It's just trying to convert for use. American fellas that only talking gallons and inches. Just kidding, guys. Just kidding. Nah, but yeah, I just wouldn't mind. So I can, when I go to assemble these stuff, I can give them a quick clean off and a blow down, and then I really know that they are spotlessly clean. I'm just trying to get everything prepped, so before we go to assemble, I can give them the final wash, clean down with brake clean and blow down, and make sure that they are dead spotless. And obviously just double check all the galleries and all that sorts of things. So I'll give this a polish up, and then yeah, we'll move on to the next thing. And basically I'm just going to do that all the way through everything. I'm going to make sure the gears are perfect, all those sorts of things. Because now, even with just sandblasting the crap that was stuck in there, that's really nice and smooth now. But I'll just give it a gentle polish, and whether I need to give this another gentle polish or not, I don't know. Yeah, I could probably go to maybe even just run over this with 1500. But once that's got all in between, you know, that surface is nice and clean, and maybe give this one another one, it'll be perfect. But you can see that's never been a horrendously, it's just been a rough machine surface. It's never been like a highly polished. It's been a quick cut as long as it was within tolerance and it was reasonably clean. I guess they probably might have just run around it quickly with some fine emery just to give it a quick polish up, but it's never been like a high tolerance sort of thing. You know, we're not talking like bearing surface or anything like that. Because that's never spinning. It just needs to be able to move and move cleanly. Like, you know, that's never spinning on there. You know, it's just moving backwards and forwards. So it doesn't need to be a highly tolerance polished finish. It just needs to be lubricated, and it's got the little oiler in there, which is quite cool. It's funny, all the funny little things that they did way back, that you don't have to worry about now. But I guess there was a little bit of oil come out of there, but there was always something in there too, you know what I mean? To just help lubricate. So it's funny the little things that they did. But we will give that a polish and carry on. So yeah, like those surfaces there now are nice and clean. Same with that one. You know, that's nice and clean and shiny in there. Like it's got a little bit of pitting, but again, it doesn't really matter. It's not a high tolerance thing. It just needs to be clean and a nice smooth surface. So yeah, perfect. You know, a little bit of oil around that, and it'll never be a problem. So it's cool. That's those two pieces cleaned up and perfected, ready to go back on once I've had a final clean. Let's give them a quick spray with some C.A.R. so that anything doesn't flash, rust, or anything. So, I'm getting a lot of the stuff cleaned up, but I really need to get a wire wheel or something that I can put on the bench grinder or drill or die grinder or something like that I can get in here and and really get the shit off these things. Like just the rusty surfaces and stuff like that, and really almost polished up with a little brass wire wheel or a big one on the beach grinder. Now I just realised that in here, I don't think I ever took it out, but there's a seal in here with a clip in it. There'll be a felt one again. I just had a look at the housing that came off the other box. It looks like it's exactly the same. So I've just thrown that in that really old, because it's really heavily freaking covered in shit and thick stuff. So that tub of old stuff that we had in there, which is hidden, a lot of it's evaporated, so it's really heavily concentrated. I'm going to throw it in there for the rest of the weekend, and hopefully that'll dissolve all the shit out of there. So I'm getting in there with that stuff. So basically all I've been doing is trying to get these clean. I've been going over and over and over and over these with the, because that compressor's not set at a really high PSI, it's only 115 is about all I can get out of the regulator before the blast valve on the compressor goes off, for the relief valve, which is a pain. It's not, I wouldn't say it's low, but it's really like a lot of modern ones will go to 140 or 170 PSI before they'll blow off air. So I don't know why it's quite so low, because it would be nice to run that cabinet just at a bit higher pressure with the walnut and stuff in it. It's not quite aggressive. It's good, but it's not quite aggressive enough. Like I'm getting a lot of the shit off, and it's cleaned a lot of the crap off, but there's just some really stubborn stuff that I need to attack with the wire wheel. So yeah, I've just done that, and I've given it a rinse off, and then just obviously get rid of any sawdust and crap out of it. And the gear, like the speedo drive gear, it looks all good. I'll give this a proper clean up, and we'll give the shaft, and this is just a little go. It's got a little bit of crap on the end of it, so I'll give that a little polish up and whatever. That'll probably give that a polish up, probably 1500 or something like that, 2000, just to make sure it is nice and clean. Same with the shafts. I've given this a pretty aggressive go, but I'd like to again tack this with a wire wheel and see if I can get some of the last of this off, and then give some of these surfaces a polish up, a clean up. Obviously polish up the end that goes into the, probably the back of the crankshaft. Have a look at that. I need to check to see whether there's a pilot bearing or something in there. I don't know, or a pilot bush. So I need to obviously get that cleaned up and then make sure that that fits in there nicely. It's not going to move around and do anything stupid here. Lots of little things like that. So yeah, it's just a matter of going through in detail on this, because unfortunately the top was left off the box. These aren't, they're in really good nick, but there's just a lot of surface crack and just that light surface rust, or heavier surface rust that hasn't pitted or anything. It's just left its mark there, and it's just to get it off without being aggressive, if you know what I mean. I don't want to use like a real coarse, I don't want to use garnet or anything against it. I'd rather just, really clean it up, and then, by the time it's run together for a while, it'll re-bead in. So yeah, I've just been going through all that sort of stuff. I'm just actually going to see if that case, I don't know if that case will fit in there or not, just to try and do a clean up on the outside, to see if I can get the crap off the outside, just to clean it up a little bit. So I'm going to try that in there, see if it'll fit. I think it'll fit. It's going to be awkward, but I think it'll fit there, just to give it a bit of a clean up, without being, again, too aggressive. Then we might try and, I'm not going to polish it up, but I think I'll just see if we can get it cleaned up between maybe some Rolox with like the Scotch Brite pads, so I might go buy a couple of them, see if I can get a 3-inch set of 3-inch stuff, maybe another right angle die grind at some point, since I've got a little bit of cash sitting there with PayPal. Might do that and then see if we can get that really cleaned up. And maybe some of these other pieces a bit more cleaned up so they can be painted, and obviously etched and whatever. Like this is, you know, I mean, it's outside. But that's sort of where we're at the moment. I've got a lot of smalls soaking. They've had been pretty much soaking all day. I've given them a good agitate and rinsed the shit out of there and put some fresh stuff in there. Just to give them a good agitate around to make sure all the crap is coming off them. Because this, especially when the grease and stuff that's on this stuff is so fucking old. Like it's still got grease in places in here that's still there, you know. And I've had that in the sandblasting cabinet. So it just shows how fucking much it's holding on. Look, it's clean, but it's not 100%, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I think the wire brush will just get a lot of that last shit off there and make sure it is really clean in between the teeth. That's the biggest thing, is make sure that these surfaces are really nice and clean, so when they run together they don't end up chewing themselves to bits. So we don't need that. But that's about where I'm at the moment. How much more I get done today, I don't know. I'm getting down in time till I don't want to be here all day. But yeah, like it's a good opportunity to just get some stuff cleaned up. Now we can carry on through this other stuff Monday. Let that housing soak so I can hopefully get the seal bits and pieces out of that to see what's all in there. It looks like it's a little bit like the actual seal, where it's just a retainer and the clip and then the big water belt. I might just see, on an off chance, see whether we can get a modern seal in there. So I might take it round the housing and the rear shaft and just see whether it will take a modern seal. So if we can get something that's close, otherwise we'll just use the felt. But yeah, a few little bits and pieces like that mightn't hurt, you know, have a modern seal in there. But anyway, I think we'll carry on. We'll keep cleaning. Just talking about the modern seal, I was just thinking, so really the modern seal runs on that, so I've got to give that a bloody good clean up. So if I could get a seal that would fit in there and accept that, it's fairly tight, but it's not very big, but it's not to say there's not one around. So I think that would be worth a try anyway. Right guys, we'll catch you later on. Right, just a bit of final run round. So I actually threw that in the cabinet and gave it a quick going over. I think I might have ran around it sort of twice, but not heavily. You know, I wasn't really going, you know, doing short passes. I was just really flicking it, trying to just clean the surface up. Trying to get rid of some of the shit off it. Just clean it back. So I think what I'll do is I'll tack it with a some of those, where are they? I'll have to get some of these, but I might try and get some 3-inch ones and get actually get a new little holder from a 2-inch. I might get a 3-inch one and give it run these over and just see what it comes up like, because it's like a Scotch Brite thing, and give it a bit of a clean back and just see what it really comes up like. I might actually, I should throw that one on the right angle and drive. I might just do a wee patch and just see what it comes up like, and see if that's doing. And I think that's all I'll do to the main casing. I don't really see much point doing anything else. I don't think it would have been painted. I just want to make it look half decent, if you know what I mean, and not quite so oxidized. I might just give it a quick run over and just bring you back a little bit. I'll just do a patch, if you know what I mean, and see what it cleans up like. Yeah guys, so I'm actually just down here on Sunday. I just actually, one of Jake's drawers fell to pieces, so I just brought it down here and glued it back together with that construction glue. I just got the clamps on it and threw it back in the back of the car. So I thought while I was here, just do a couple of little frickin' things while I'm here. This housing here, that's off the other box, that's got the seal and everything in it still. And because it's really heavily frickin' soiled, like that box, I had it sitting in that goo. I've just, since it's been in there overnight, I plumped it in that simple green in here. And I've actually taken their gear, all the gears that I spent the time cleaning up, I've actually just dumped them all in this goo. So they're all basically submerged except for that part of that main gear. I've turned it over a couple of times just while I've been here, just to get a little bit of that crap on it, just to see if it'll help loosen up any of that last bits of rust and crap that on it, because this shit's pretty savage, because it was a 4-gallon tub, like it was that full, and now it's reduced down to that just with whatever. I just put a bit of water in it just to help make it so it's fully submerged. So I'm just going to leave that overnight, because I'll be back here in the morning. I'm going to leave that in there overnight, and hopefully that'll loosen all that crap up, since it's been soaking in that and now it's soaking in the simple green. All the bolts are still in here. I'll just give them another shake up. They should be pretty clean anyway now. So yeah, the other thing too, yesterday before I left, I attacked this a little bit with the Scotch Brite wheel. I'm not sure if you can tell in there. It's kind of cleaned it up, not really. A little bit, like it's taken the oxidisation off. So I might do that and whatever, and give it a rough clean up. I think maybe sand it when I've got it back like that. I might give it a, I don't know, maybe a half sand up with some 240 or something like that. Just sort of semi, I wouldn't say polish up, but just really clean the surface up so it looks decent on the outside. And I think we'll leave it at that and just paint all the other bits. So that's basically all I'm doing while I'm here. I just thought I'd give that stuff an agitate and let it, you know, soak a bit more and whatever. Get stuffed up and clean up a bit more. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing at the moment. I'm about to head home and let that drawer cure up, and Mrs. can put the boys' drawers back together. And yeah, we'll see you again tomorrow. Quick 2-minute update. The other quick thing is too, all the wheel stuff's gone to the guy to make the wheels, so the wooden spokes and stuff. I started assembling that once. Obviously we'll get everything together once we get some bolts, but hopefully lets me know when he goes to put one of them together and muck around with that stuff, because I want to do even if it's a time-lapse video of that. So hopefully that'll be, I don't know, one of these days shortly, and I can get it in amongst the video. Right, morning guys. So just dragged these bits out of that dip and I've lifted that other one of those out. I'm just got to bring it over here and pull the clip out of it. So these have had a pretty good soaking in there. I'll just give them a wash down in the simple green. I can just give them a quick scrub, but I need a wire wheel to try and get the last of the rusty stuff off. I might just give them another go in the blasting cabinet with the walnut, just to see if I can get them to clean them up a little bit better. But I think, yeah, it really needs a big rotary wheel on the bench grinder, so I can get in there and buff that scabby stuff off. Oh, these are about as clean as you're going to get through a bath now. Hopefully you can sort of see there. It's quite clean on this side. Hopefully it looks right when I beat it. But around here you can see all that sort of scabby stuff, and it's in between the gears too. It's sort of, I'd say it's sort of light, but it's mainly surface, and I think that a lot of it will come off. It just needs to be cut, it just needs to be knocked off, if you know what I mean, and cleaned up without damaging obviously the gears. You know, and around here it's not too bad. Like you can see there's spots where it's still stuck on there, but we'll give it another run through there, see if it'll move, and yeah, I think we just need to buff them up on a bench grinder and whatever, and just detail them up, I guess, and just, you've got to get them clean, because I guarantee if you run that like that in the box, all that stuff would get knocked off running through it, then it's through the oil, and then it's through all the bearings, and next thing you got a noisy gearbox, and yeah, it's damaging shit. So we don't want that on there. We want, it's got to be clean. You know. Well, this has come up alright too. But you know, I wouldn't mind cleaning, really hitting this with the grinder, with the wire wheel, and obviously polishing this up. This isn't too bad. Like, it needs a little bit of a going over, but it's not bad. There's a little bit on here. But yeah, this needs cleaned up. Morning. Alrighty, I've hit these pieces again with the walnut, and they are slowly coming clean, but man, they're stubborn. Oh, that shit is stubborn. I definitely need the wire wheel just to get, like, I could probably get going and going and going, but I've been standing there since, I don't know, whatever the time is now. Must be about 10:30 or somewhere around about there, I think. So I've been standing there for probably a good hour or more, just trying to get these 3 pieces cleaned up. Like, you know, you can still see that that's rust built up on the surface, if you know what I mean. Like, if that would come off, that black stuff, I'd imagine it would come off, you know, and then we can still, you know, polish it up from there. And I start having another go at this one too. Like, it is moving, but man, I've just got to stand there. If I could get the pressure regulator on this wound up, well, I can wind it up, but the relief valve goes off, and I can't adjust the relief valve. It's at its max. I think I managed to get it to come up a little bit from what it was set at originally. I think I can get about 120 out of it or something like that. But that's all. Like, most of the compressors I've ever used, like, you've been able to get, you know, 140 or 150 out of them. And a lot of the truck ones that were on the backs of our trucks or in our big workshops, they were set at 170, so they would wind up to 170 psi and then stay there. But I can't get this much past, much past 115, 120, which is, it's okay, but if I could get it, you know, up to that sort of 150, 160 psi, and then let it drop down and have it kick back in before it even got below 100, I'd better blast a lot better. But I don't think I'm dropping down into, you know, 70 psi, and I just think it's enough. It's not strong enough, if you know what I mean. So that's why it's taken forever to get this stuff cleaned up, which is okay. We're going to get a bench grinder. Well, I think we're going to get a buffer wheel for it, you know, like a polishing wheel for one side, and a big wire wheel. We're going to get another one. We're not going to replace that one. We'll replace the wheel. We're just going to get another one. And probably what I might do is just get a bit of box, bolt it to the floor, and have it on a pedestal. I think would be the way to do it. Well, at least then you can get around it. You can probably have an open wheel. But anyway, so I'll keep working at this stuff. I'll get some of this other stuff cleaned up more. I got that clip and the retainer and the old felt seal out of that other end housing. So I've got that there now, because that was missing. I don't even remember pulling that out, even earlier on when I freed a lot of the stuff up. Because way back, like the clutch lever was seized, and a lot of this stuff was all seized up, just from sitting around in the weather and stuff. And the clutch fork, which is over here, you know, that was all seized up way back. You know, all those sorts of things were all seized up. So I freed a lot of that stuff up. So I've just got to go through and clean it up and get it ready to paint and make sure the surfaces are okay. Like on this clutch fork, you know, you can see where it's had a bit of bad pitting and stuff like that. I'll give it another clean up, and we'll just give it a really good polish up with some sandpaper and stuff like that, and at least then it should be fine. But yeah, I'll carry on, just keep cleaning up, I guess, and I'll just bring you back when I get a bit more done, if you know what I mean. And then once I get a bit of this metal stuff cleaned up, we'll get it etched and ready to, you know, start blowing some black on a lot of it. I'm trying to think what I should do. I think I might paint this part. or maybe the handle in shiny and gloss, but I think I'll paint the rest of it in satin. I think I might do that. It's being underneath the car. Yeah, I think I'll paint it all in the satin. I think all these other bits and pieces, like, you know, the cover for the top of the box and all that stuff, I think I'll just paint it all in satin. Because the rest of the suspension stuff's satin. You know, and whatever else. So, anyway, I'll carry on and I'll keep cleaning up. Alrighty, so I've got a few pieces cleaned up and etched. This is some of the stuff that we painted for on the transmission. It's the bulk of the main parts. I have to just double check, make sure there's nothing else that really needs painted. But yeah, like there's bound to be other little bits and pieces, but this is sort of what I got cleaned up enough to flick a little bit of each on, then at least it's, you know, ready for the next step. And I just taped up the keyhole, took the little aluminium cover off the top of here for the keyhole that locks the gear stick, which we don't have. So nobody can lock it anyway, but at least it's still there. Yeah, I guess at some point, you know, we can extract it out of there and get a key, maybe get a key made for it. Or, you know, you might fluke and find one day that fits it. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at there. And I'm not quite sure where I was earlier on. Yeah, so I went back through all that stuff. I might try and hit that with that rotary brush again just to see. Yeah, I haven't really done a lot else. I've just been sort of just going through stuff. I'm going to go through these bits and pick the best two. Not that it really matters. And make sure the stuff is dead clean. This is a spacer between, like in behind there, between the bearing and bits and pieces. You know, I don't need, well yeah, I do need two lock nuts. The other ones must be down the box. You know, just make sure the stuff's clean properly. I'll go through that shortly. I may give some of these, no, I don't too bad. I might give some of the heads just a quick knock over with the sandblaster. And then I might get into that, give that a decent scrub, like on the outside. I may even attack that with a wire brush on the grinder. Just give it a rub over and then work out what I'm going to do from there. Because I've only really got that one wee Scotch-Brite pad, I just haven't had the opportunity to sort that stuff yet. So that's about where I'm at. I haven't done a lot of videos today. Like it's, I don't know, what is it, fucking be close to 3 I guess. So I've just been doing this stuff, just spent a lot of time trying to get those bits clean and those bits clean. I'm still going to go back through there and sandblast this and polish that. You know, I've got a lot of polishing and bits and pieces to do. This here I'm not sure about, because in that other shaft, that other main front shaft, it's in there. It doesn't come out. Now, this has got the 3 holes through here. And there, which is what these 3 holes are. So we may have to get that bush made. And this is that one there, and that groove there, is an oil hole in that. Oh no, it's not in that groove, it's just round a little bit. So it must be where for the oil to run back into, obviously. So it's obviously meant to drip back and then run in between this. So I don't know. This here is meant to stay there. I'm assuming like this one, because those holes in that bush are going to stay where it doesn't want to. So I might have to take that in once I get, you probably take that one in and get the bush made for that. So it's nice and so it's snug. I'll put this phone on the tripod, hold on. Back in a sec. Right, so what I was trying to say before, hopefully this stays in camera shot. So I'm not 100% sure. This is the shaft that was with this one. A bit of play in that. It's really quite loose in that, so here's the other one. This one definitely might need a addressing. These are all the sorts of things we've got to find out before we put this bloody thing back together, eh? So that's the same. So obviously, I think this bush has been spinning in here. So we need to address that and just get it so, whatever way these line up, like that I'm guessing. So the holes, these holes line up with this all the way around. There's 3 holes in here. So I've got to get that in there snug and in the right place, because that's no good floating around, otherwise it's going to just wear worse, shafts are going to move around, all those sorts of things. So that needs to be addressed. So yeah, let's get really lucky. Where's me? I'm not going to do my comments either. Where's me? Verniers. Better go to inches for you guys, otherwise my poor American mates will get all confused. So what's that? That's about 19 mil, 3/4. So if I change that to mils, yeah, it's snug over 19 mil. Okay, fine. Be like that then. Whatever that is. So yeah, it's, no, it does fit in there, but let's have a look. So it's similar, but it's a little bit under that. Like it's not quite. Look at these shafts down to. Let's look. No, it's not too accurate. So that one's done. See, it's been worn down. It's under the size of that boy. What are we? So that was almost 7.6. This is 7.4 and 6. So that's a bit undersized. So yeah, we definitely need to make a get a bush made to fit the tolerances that will fit in here nicely and just snug. Make sure these line up, and that it's not loose on here. I don't know what the tolerances are, but that's, no, you don't want that sort of play on there. That's no good. That's all that's going to do is just cause premature wear. And I think we better do the same with these in the main gear sets and stuff like that, because this is the one out of here. But not that I have given it a real good clean up yet, but it's actually got quite a lip on there. So probably what we should do is get this shaft probably remade, and it really, as long as it's not over that diameter, I guess. Yeah, it's a bit of a hard one. Just make sure it's nice and tight in here. Whether we have to get another bush made for there and there, I don't know either. Because there's a bit of, there's got to be a certain amount obviously, but I don't really know what. It mightn't hurt to maybe get shafts, you know, it might be alright. I just hate to see, you know, a failure because of it's already got wear on it. It probably won't, but you know what I mean. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Probably measure up and just see what the difference is, and I'll come back to you. Righty, there you go, guys. So, I've been sitting here doing a couple of things. It dawned on me this before. So I've got that right angle die grinder. I'll just put that, stab the bloody thing. Down here. With one of those Scotch Brites. I've only got one of those Scotch Brites left, but I've been using it to polish it up. Not that one, sorry. Been polish up those edges of the gears, like in between, because it's not really taking any material away, and it's just cleaning that shit up and just polishing that surface a little bit, if you know what I mean. And it's just cleaning the crap out of the air, any of the rust and bits and pieces. If you can see them there, you know, got this little bit of rust still in those gears. I've just been trying to get them clean, obviously without trying to destroy anything or take material off or anything stupid like that. Another thing, I did this one as well. I found something as nice and flat, which is a bit of, I don't know, whatever it is, a 1/4 inch plate. That's only about 8 inches square or thereabouts. So I just laid a bit of sandpaper on that, about 800 wet, and just run it across these surfaces to try and take any shit off. And so it was nice and as flat as I can get it, if you know what I mean. I'll do that with the rest of the stuff. Now, this here, the bush that's down there, I'm going to go get that remade. It's too sloppy for my liking. It's going to cause problems. And like we said in previous videos, if this thing does ever happen to go over and do the Paris to Peking, which is, you know, we're talking borderline 10,000 miles. Miles, yeah, or 17 odd thousand Ks. It's a freaking long way to ask something worn to keep going. And I was thinking the same thing on this main shaft that holds this, and it rotates, it runs on it. Now this can't turn; it's locked in here with a tab. It's, you know, slides down there and it's got a tab that sits between these two, and that can't move. So it's always running on the same spot. Now it's worn. Focus, camera, focus. So here, you can see it, I don't know if you can, or hopefully you can. There's a little bit of a lip there where it's worn in, and it's not quite so bad on this end. It's more worn on this end than it is on this end. This is probably one that's been doing the most driving, so it's put the most load on it, that end. Now, these bushes, I'm thinking either, because we can increase this, because this is a, what are we talking? Let's measure it, just so you guys know. So, the main shaft, if we go to the piece that's had the little thrust washer on it, it hasn't been doing any work. It's 0.872ish of an inch, and out here is 9.03 or thereabouts, if you know what I mean, give or take, depending on where I turn it. Sometimes it grows, sometimes it's about 90. It's almost 90 or 910, but it depends. You know, it depends on where you turn it. Sometimes it's smaller than 90, and it's like sort of 3 or 4 or 5, and sometimes it's 91. So it's not quite an inch, but it's close. And this is a little bit smaller. So that's obviously the size that bush used to be. And because it's worn, that's going to be worn. And again, you know, 9 or 10,000 miles on a slightly worn shaft and slightly worn bushes. You know, it's probably not going to be a big problem if it was just tootling around here, but I'd just hate to see it eat itself, you know, because it is, if you can look at that, it is not the best. It's like if it was mine and we're just tootling around here, just doing a local you know, vintage car type run, you know, doing what we say like 60 miles, you know, in a day. You know, not going terribly fast, probably 45, maybe 50 miles an hour. That's all that thing's going to do safely, if you know what I mean. Yeah, it's probably never going to be a problem. But the possibility of it going over there makes you think we better maybe get this remade or something like that, and possibly either enlarge, like ream that out so it's true, or bore it out so it's true, those bushes, and maybe make that shaft slightly bigger, or remake those bushes entirely and remake the shaft. Like that is smaller than that end, so as long as, if you made this slightly larger, as long as it wasn't larger than this, it's never going to be a problem, because it'll still slide in the box. You know, you could grow it out to that whole size, right out to this end, you know, except for the last inch, as long as it was the right size. It would be fine, if you know what I mean, and you may have to increase the size in here. So yeah, I've been polishing that stuff up, looking at this stuff, just working out what we're going to do. I might go back around to Dad's and just run it past Dad, see what he thinks. But we need to do the bush in the end of the shaft, in the main shaft, between the input and the output. That's got to be done. It's loose and it's going to be a problem. It doesn't matter which way you slice it, and it's a simple fix. This is simple-ish too, but it's not quite so cheap to fix. Well, yeah, we could just throw it in there and try it and see what happens. But you know, if it does happen to go do that, Paris to Peking, it could be quite an issue. I'd hate to see it destroy itself driving down the road. The other thing I was thinking too, like when we do get this box all cleaned up and back together, I might see if I can find a decent magnet or something like that, and maybe put on this bung or glue on the bung or something like that, or have it so it sticks to this and then picks any metal up. Just so it's, if it does happen to be, you know, a little bit as it wears itself in, anything that gets out of the oil or stays down on the bottom of the oil and doesn't run up around the gears. And you know, again, probably once we get it running, you know, like most things, you know, when you run a fresh build in, you know, we might prefer it to drop this as well, you know, and all those sorts of things, and then change the oil after a few miles. But so yeah, I think I'll better go have a yarn just to Dad, see what he thinks. Definitely got to get that bush done anyway, so, and have a talk and see what he thinks, whether we should rebuild this or not. I just would hate to see it sell. Like, I don't, it's not, here's a bit of play in there. No, that's sideways. Whatever way it was running, I'm not 100% sure if that's sticking in the box. Yeah, it doesn't matter which way you put it. There's quite a bit of, you know, and this here won't go into it, so you could quite safely maybe just take it out, you know, a thou or half a thou or whatever, you know, and just make this shaft very slightly bigger and just use these original bushes, because they are in quite good nick, you know, with a slight cleaner, and maybe remake that shaft. It mightn't be a bad thing. It might be fine. I'll talk to Dad, see what he thinks. I might be just being critical, overthinking it, but I'd rather overthink it and be safe than drive down the road and destroy it. You have to do it all again with not so good parts, if you know what I mean, because these gears are good. They are in good nick, whereas the other stuff would be okay, but you know, that main gear where it locks the two shafts together for the top gear is not the best. Anyway, we'll leave it at that. This probably is the end of this video because I haven't got a lot of footage from today. So again, please like, share and subscribe, hit that bell, doesn't cost you anything. You tell your friends, whatever, see if we can get me to over that 1,000, and then hopefully we'll see if we can get the watch hours up enough, and we'll better get all that sides of it rolling. Again, got my Teespring. I've actually just remade a new batch. Well, I've redone all a lot of the stuff. I've got to finish some stuff, but I've put the new NZ, instead of just NZ Mopro on it, I put the NZ Mopro Outlaw Kustoms logo on it, which is the blend between Minnesota Outlaw Kustoms and my logo that I originally made. So I blended the two together like it's on the thing. So none of that stuff was on the Teespring stuff, and now is. I've got to just go through and do a few more bits and pieces of what I want to do, like cups and mugs and all that stuff I haven't done yet. And you've got PayPal there if you want to help support me. I have got Buy Me Coffee still open, but I've got it set up to that Stripe, so I think the money just automatically goes straight to my bank account instead of to that Payoneer frickin' thing, which was a pain in the ass. I wish I'd looked a bit more deep into that before I'd done it, but I'll get that money out of it somehow at some point. I'll work it out. I just need to look into it a bit more to see how I can send some money to it or something like that and get their money back. What else? Yeah, that's about it. Oh, there's the Amazon list, wish list there. If you did happen to want to have a look at that, and I don't expect there's quite a bit of stuff on there that's more just a personal listing for myself of things I wouldn't mind at some point. But there's lots of tools and bits and pieces and just smaller stuff that shouldn't be too expensive to send to me. But yeah, I don't know, just whatever. Either that or just, yeah, if you do want to help support me with PayPal or something like that, would be fine. But yeah, again, thanks for all the new subscribers recently, and on Instagram. Like, I've got quite a few followers popping up all the time. It's really cool since I restarted that there a wee while ago. I personally restarted it. I didn't lose it or anything like that. I turned it off and restarted it just as straight as a business page more, and left it for a while. There was some other reasons amongst that, but yeah. So that's going good now again. Probably back up to where I used to be, if not better. At some point I might go back and reload a few of the older photos and bits and pieces that I put up. I'm not too worried about it. I might as well just start fresh and just keep going around for where I am. Yeah, so thanks for watching. Again, please like, share and subscribe, and hit that bell, and just keep watching. It would be much appreciated. And yeah, thanks for people that have helped support me over the last, I guess, 7 years really. Sort of mainly probably 3 that have been really sort of pushing it. You know, since probably about 2018, I guess, was when I really sort of started doing it. Started by 2000 or midway through 2018 when I bought the Dodge in Tasmania. That's when I really sort of, I guess, pushed it, and then it's really grown in the last 2 since we come back. And obviously with the help of Heidi and Arco, they've helped tremendously, and all those sorts of guys. So anyway, that'll do for this video. I've been waffling too long again. Thanks guys, cheers. Right, so yeah, they only just turned up here before, just a couple of minutes ago. Yeah, so he said, you just do it, just in case he does happen to do it. So we're going to get a new shaft made, and possibly bushes if need be, and then obviously get that, have a pilot bush made between the input shaft and the output shaft. So, and just get that all just double checked and make new. So at least then it's right then, and we don't have to worry about it.